Welcome, Lisa Dickel,
Hi, thank you very much.
now also one of our teachers, level 1 and 2. So you start to get to know a lot of our students. And tonight I wanted us to just do an informal chat about your tiny science chat journal club, which is a long name. I don't know what do you normally say? The science club or the chat, or how do
I
you
guess
refer?
usually we just say journal club if it's
Journal
clear
club.
which journal club we're talking about.
Yes, because I don't think there are many out there. Really? Do you know of any other science clubs or journal clubs like this that you are doing, Lisa?
Well, it's like in science, it's quite a common thing, right? Like at work, we have multiple of these things where people meet every week and talk about papers. But I think it's less common as like a science communication thing where
Yeah,
just all sort of people meet and talk about scientific papers.
which is so nice. And I want to spread the good news actually, because I don't think people are aware of how good this is, the science, the journal club that you do. Okay, so Lisa, I got to know you when you did our dog trainer school, all 4 levels. And during level 4, you decided to do this meetings with the other students on level 4. Is that how it all started?
Yes, that's how it started, exactly. I was doing some lectures for bachelor students at my university about how to read scientific papers. And then I just had this spontaneous idea I had to practice my presentation for the students. I had to practice this lecture. And then I just messaged the other students and asked them if they wanted to listen to me for this practice. And then some of them or some people joined, and then from there it all began.
That's a great idea, actually. Yeah, because you are from Germany, but you are living in Norway,
Yes.
where we have a lot of snow at the moment. We were just discussing that because you are at the university NTNU, the techno. I don't know what the English name for it is.
Norwegian University of Science and Technology.
Yeah, that short name.
Yes.
And they have campuses in a couple of places in Norway, but you are at their main campus in Trondheim.
Yes.
Yeah. And what are you doing your PhD studies in?
It's evolutionary biology, and I'm studying birds, but I'm studying more general principles of population genetics and evolution. Yeah.
Because I talk to you quite often, and we talk about dogs, obviously, not birds. So then I'm thinking, so if you spend like 20-30% of your time, talk about dogs, basically the rest of the time you are discussing birds, are you?
Well, yes and no, because now, for example, the last few sessions of the journal club that we did, they were all very related to my PhD topic. And I have been citing sometimes in the things I've been writing, I've been sometimes citing dog literature because dogs are really often model organisms because it's so easy to collect data on them. Um, and I'm not a bird person in that sense. So most of the time when I'm thinking about evolution, I think I'm thinking about dogs.
But what are your PhD about? Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
Your paper? Yeah.
Oh,
What's the title?
it's fitness and genetic consequences of immigration. So I'm seeing what happens when populations isolate for a long time, and then some individuals that are less related to these birds come into the population. And this is something that's super important in the dog world because we have all these very isolated pools of breeds where we have this very controlled breeding system. And then there's a lot of discussion if we should bring in dogs from the outside to
Mm-hmm.
make them more healthy and so on. So that's what we have been discussing across, I think, the last maybe 5 journal club sessions.
So let's talk about the journal club, because you contacted me then last summer, and you said, if we were interested in continuing with the club and have it open to anyone who were interested. And that's an excellent idea. I love it. And Lubo and I, we try to promote it, on Facebook, and maybe you see our stories and posts. But it's a online club that anyone can be a member of. So please, Lisa, tell now anyone listening, what is it? How do you have to have a PhD? This is a very leading question. Do you need a PhD to join?
Definitely not. So I know that it's super difficult to read scientific papers, or it can feel super overwhelming, and it has felt like that for me also for a really long time, even though I'm educated in science. But there are a few tools that can be really, really helpful. And we have been doing some sort of workshops, and I've been giving some lectures in the beginning of the Journal Club season, and they are available to view in the library, so that anyone can have the tools to have easier access to reading them. And then also in the beginning of every session, we have a session every second week. And in the beginning of every session, I do a summary presentation, maybe like 20-30 minutes, to just summarize the main points. And then we discuss sometimes for 1 or 2 hours about everything we don't understand. So it's actually really important, like if you want to join and you feel like you don't understand certain things, then it's really important to bring them and to highlight them, because often we all don't understand them, and we figure it out together. And often from there arise then our next questions for which paper we want to read next.
And that's a good point. So you should not be afraid of feeling stupid, if you're a regular dog owner, but you're just interested in, what is this all about in science? Like you just said, all the sessions are recorded, and I saw your first couple of sessions where you explained how to, just in a very basic way, what is a paper and how, what, how, and why. So you will get access to that when you're a member, and you can watch it. And then it's basically, so what you say is that you meet every 2 weeks, and you start with, a 20-minute presentation about a paper. We have the program. It's now on our webpage as well.
Nice.
I can put the link afterwards here in the comments. So you can see the previous topics and the coming topics. So you don't have to feel that you have to come with very intelligent questions.
No. No, we are basically all the goal is that we feel all very comfortable to feel stupid, because that's also how I feel every time.
Oh, but that's good to hear, because it's because that's what I wanted it to be. And from what I see from when people are contacting us, and when I see the comments in you have a Facebook group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people are very happy in your community. And of course, then you can also forward your, wishes for any topics that you would like to discuss. If you would like to discuss them later.
Oh yes, of course. Like we always, we have usually, like if we discuss one paper, we have 25 new ideas for what we want to discuss next. So then we always go a little bit where most of the enthusiasm is right now. And now already we have quite a list of topics that we want to go through, yeah.
But I also imagine that, of course, I mean, I can't see, when I was just, and I'm saying again, with just a regular dog owner, that wasn't really what my main interests were. But if you are interested in behavior and training in dogs and animals in general, of course, in science, just to see what it is, because what happened, do you know, Lisa, I usually say, because I can remember it, that the last 10 to 20 years, there's been so much more research on animals and then dogs than it ever used to be before. It's kind of exploded. and you know more about this than I do. So historically, what do you know about science and dogs? When did we really start looking into science and dogs and do studies? And because they're popping up everywhere now.
Yes, I think, yeah, there has been, I guess, more a history of using dogs as like laboratory animals because it was easy in the past. But I think like maybe across the last 20 years or so, it has become much, much more that dogs were actually in the focus of research.
Yeah.
And I think only now, like also a lot they are used as model species for example, human disease. Therefore, we have quite many studies on dogs. But now it's quite new that we also have studies that are actually targeted at dog welfare, because dogs have become such an important, also economical part of society. So I think now more research money also flows towards dogs directly and not only indirectly.
Mm-hmm. And no, oh, I forgot. I was just remembering. A follow-up question was yes. So the dog on. So when you're working with dogs, if you're a dog trainer and you meet other dog trainers, or you discuss dog behavior and dog training, isn't it? Again, very leading questions tonight. I'm sorry about that, but I think that the more good, the more we can back up our beliefs and methods and why we're doing things in science, the better it is. So I'm personally, I would, really recommend everyone working with dogs, especially, to join and see what it is that you do. You don't have to do a deep dive into every paper, do you?
No, definitely not. And um, only if you want to, really, but definitely you don't have to. And also, I I have tried to give some tools on how to cut the right corners,
Mhm.
because corner cutting is really important when you deal with these massive, massive articles. Um, and it's only a handful of papers that I read from the first to the last word. I don't usually want to do that. Um, it's terrible, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to know where to cut the right corners and what you want to know. Yeah.
And do you also discuss or talk about where do you find this research? Where do you find papers? Because not all papers are available to just anyone. Some you have to pay for, some you have to be a member of a, university or staff or something to. I don't know the system. Can you tell us shortly about how it works?
Yes, I mean, what you said is completely true, right? There's a pay wall in front of many articles. Um, and really often someone posts in the group, hey, can someone have access to this article maybe? And then usually one of us can find it somewhere. Um, because we have access to some university's network or something like that, or we downloaded it, or we asked the author. Like that's in general, like if you cannot have access to a paper and you email the author, they're usually really happy to send it to you.
They were happy that someone is interested in reading it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't get any money from when you pay for it, right? I don't get any money for that. So if anyone wants to read my bird papers, please
Yeah. You would be very happy if someone
just message me. Yes.
yeah.
um, yeah.
And I think that that's a strength you can add to your CV as well, that you know where to find papers and you know the layouts of a paper. And because I see on when we do discussions online today, people are now screaming after, do you have any proof? Can you prove, do you have a link? And joining your club will at least get you more familiar about how this whole big world, the secret world of science works.
Yeah, and I feel like we become more and more careful to scream those things as we actually um, know what it is. And I think also in dog training right now, we argue so much with science, like it's all science based and everyone is science based. And things like that, but what does that actually mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And therefore it's really like important for me, and it's yeah, something I really like is that we read beyond the abstracts and titles. And that's really, really, really important for me because they usually don't tell what it is all about.
And also a very important point is to ask questions, because like you said, science, and who's paying for the science, and who's paying for, where is the information coming from? This is what we see in the food industry and, everything. Who's paying for the results?
Yes, exactly.
So do you discuss that a little bit about as well during, I can imagine you do, how, to ask yourself really as well, to be more aware and more critical to where the information comes from.
Yeah, we had some papers where that was more relevant than others, of course. Many times it was not really relevant because there was no. So this is also really an important part of what we are talking about a lot. There are things where we just want to describe how is something, how does something work, and then often in animal behavior or dog training, what we actually want to know is what should we do, right? And there's a really big gap in between there, and not every paper wants to answer this question of what should we do. And really often people still want to find the what should we do in any paper that's about anything, and the scientist that has written the paper is probably quite terrified
Yeah.
what it has become, the monster they have released.
Exactly. And now I just have to say that because we have some entertainment going on in the background. Your dog is really cute and trying to find, does he want to go to bed or something? It's really,
Yeah, she's making the perfect resting spot.
Yeah.
I have been tidying before we started this meeting, but she doesn't approve tidying.
Of course.
So now she has to make her own order again.
Yeah. Okay, so just some practical information before I forget. I will post a link. We're not finished yet, but I will post a link. It's on our web page. It says science. Let me just check. No, it's not open on my screen, but it's easy to find on our webpage, and you can, whenever you want to, you can become a member. And it's only, seriously, people, Lisa is doing this, I say, basically for free, because she's doing this every 2 weeks. And in addition to that, you just told me that sometimes you have more meetings.
Yes, sometimes we feel like we need an additional, like more informal meeting to prepare the actual meeting.
Yeah.
For example, if we have a big change in topic, as we have coming up just now.
So it's €5 or US dollars, €5 a month, and you can stay as long as you want, or as short as you want. And we were just discussing as well if we should, and we will. I just need to do the practical, technical thing around it, so that you can access, one chat if you want to do that. But it's already very, very cheap. So you can become a member for €5 or US dollars for 1 month. If you don't like it, you just hit the, not renewal button. So this is, I would say, basically free. But I wanted to compensate Lisa a little bit from what she's doing. So she's, spending a lot of time with this. So what can you just say a couple of examples for previous chats that you had? There's always a recording, right?
Yes.
And the recordings are in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group you have. Yeah. So you don't really need, that's what you need basically, access to Facebook. So what have you been discussing previously? You don't have to mention all of them, but just a few, just to give us some examples.
Yes, I just opened my list actually to remember everything. So lately we have been discussing a lot of breeding issues, inbreeding issues, disease, things like that. And there we also had some guest speakers. So some of the participants actually gave talks and brought topics that they wanted to present and discuss. So there we had naked dogs as one topic, one genetics topic, and then also dachshund breeding. So that was really, really cool, and I was super happy then. And what else did we have? We have been starting to talk about reward, which was also really interesting. So we have been discussing intrinsic rewards so far. And we have one upcoming session about differences of reward, wanting, and liking, and how it all works in our brain and what it does. And I think it's a really, really interesting and actually quite practical topic.
Yeah.
For dog behavior. And what else cool things did we have? We had domestication, learning theory, mating systems of free-ranging dogs, and some welfare-related things, free-ranging dog-related things, and then all these general things about how to read articles. We did some discussion on statistics. And we actually wanted to do one also on literature search and accumulating evidence across time. So I just remember that now we should definitely have that sometime, actually. Yes.
And coming up, I know now, I know that a Norwegian colleague of you, she's also at the university. She did a very good talk for us, the Norwegian school last year. She's going to be visiting you in the tiny chat, and you're going to discuss banned breeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will let all the Norwegian people know in the other Facebook group as well. Yeah. So that's coming up. What else is coming up?
Yes, we have a few plans. So we have planned 2 sessions so far about dogs and society, essentially, where also Anna will give a talk about the breed bans. Then we have some topic planned about the relationship between play and welfare, especially play in adult animals, because there are a lot of things have been changing recently, interestingly, of how we see play. And I think this is also super cool for sort of pet homes and so on.
Yes. But what do you mean by what do you mean the changes how we see play? What can you expand on a little bit?
I can. So play has been taken really long as an indicator of welfare. But then people have becoming aware that animals in near natural conditions actually don't play as adults usually. And then they have become aware that actually certain types of play correlate with previous stress experiences, and they act as like a relief mechanism, which of course it's really good, right? If you have stress, it's really good if you can relieve that stress. But stress, like play itself, is not an indicator of welfare apparently that much anymore in adult animals.
And this is really interesting, because this is one of the questions we do get as dog trainers. People are concerned because their adult dog does not play. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is, again, this is not my point is that science chat is for everyone. You can all learn something and discuss, because you have a very relaxed environment, I hope.
Yeah.
I think.
And honestly, like every day when I observe my dog, I have questions that are essentially scientific questions, right? We all have scientific questions all the time. We just don't know.
Yeah.
And actually non-scientists really ask the most interesting questions. Like I have been sweating so many times because people have asking me really interesting but really hard questions.
Yeah.
Much more often than I do that with like science colleagues usually.
And how do you mean, how do they, what is different in the way they are asking, or the questions that they are asking?
Well, they often ask like really to the heart of the problem, or they ask like, oh, why did they not do this? And if you have all this, like, I don't know, scientific background, then you just know, like, yeah, you just do like this and like that, and you don't really, like, it cannot always be perfect, right? So I guess we just accept that more in a way, that everything is a little bit like, yeah.
And this is the difficult part of being a dog trainer as well. People want like quick fix, and they want, why is my dog doing that, and how can I make him stop it? And I
Yeah.
want to know now.
Yeah, and there's never that straightforward answer, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just about becoming more comfortable about all this uncertainty and collecting more information and so on, right? And asking more questions, just asking always more questions.
Okay, this so I should join you. I should join you one of the evenings if I have the time. So we want more people in the science chats, journal club. It's the easiest way to say it. Anything else? Did I forget something? So
I don't think, I mean, we talked about very interesting things and very relevant ones, I think.
Yeah.
And we could talk about this for hours, so we have to stop at one point.
Exactly. But the point that I wanted to go live with you tonight, Lisa, was to tell people, to let them know that this is really for open to everyone, and you don't have to be a PhD student or a master or bachelor or anything. You can just be interested in dogs, basically. Yeah.
And also, maybe one thing to add is that it's really like, if you don't have time to read a paper 1 week or something, it's absolutely no problem, and it's also perfectly fine to just tag along and just listen, or just come for the talk and leave afterwards, or whatever. Really, like, all is good with me.
And yeah, because I feel, as a new person, like they're coming into the classroom, like, so just they're very friendly people. You met Lisa now. Lisa is great, and we're just happy if people are interested in what we want to spend our time talking about, basically. Yeah. So why not join us? Okay, I'll post the links and everything a little bit later in the comments here. If you have any questions, you can always email us at mail@nordicdogtrainer.com. If I can't answer your question, or Eva, our assistant, then we will forward the email to Lisa. Okay? Yeah. Okay, now your dog finally went to sleep. Oh, stretching out nicely in the back. Can you see, Lisa?
Yes. He has found peace again. Yes, you will also meet Nyako again if you join the journal club.
Okay, thank you so much, Lisa, for having the time to meet me tonight, to meet everyone.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll talk to you soon. And for everyone else, thank you for joining. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.